Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, the word tinnitus comes from the Latin word tinnier. That means to ring or to tinkle. Tinnitus is nothing but the perception of a sound in the absence of it in the acoustic environment. The American Tinnitus Association 2002 defined tinnitus as a subjective disorder characterized as chronic ringing, roaring, buzzing, humming, chirping, or hissing in the ears in the absence of the environmental noise. Next slide, please. The mention of tinnitus was way back in 400 BC by Hippocrates, who described his tinnitus in his writings. The tinnitus was also mentioned in the Egyptian papyruses, which dated back to 16th century BC. They felt that tinnitus was due to the excitement of senses. Next slide, please. Epidemiological studies of United States showed that tinnitus is common as a very common phenomenon and is seen in 8% to about 25.3% of the US population. Similar studies in other nations also showed that tinnitus prevalence ranges from 4.6% to 30% of the population. Also, it is seen more commonly in males. Tinnitus. Tinnitus can be classified according to two ways: subjective tinnitus and objective tinnitus. Pritismita, could you just change the slide, please? Thank you. There are two types of tinnitus: subjective tinnitus and objective tinnitus. It is called a subjective tinnitus if it is audible to the tinnitus sufferers only, if the tinnitus is heard only by the tinnitus sufferers, and it is called as objective tinnitus if it is heard by the tinnitus sufferers as well as others. Next slide, please. Lovenbrock also classified tinnitus according to the site of lesion. He called it central tinnitus or tinnitus cerebri if it originated within the brain, which is due to the abnormal activity of the auditory cortex. He called it peripheral tinnitus or tinnitus aureum if the tinnitus originated in the outer ear, middle ear, inner ear, or the auditory nerve. Next slide, please. Dauman and Tyler classified tinnitus as normal or pathological. The tinnitus is said to be normal if it is found in persons with normal hearing. It lasts for lesser duration of time and is less frequent in nature. However, in pathological tinnitus, the tinnitus is seen in persons with hearing impairment, which lasts for longer duration of time, as well as it is more frequent in nature. Next slide, please. The other types of classifications which are very common in tinnitus are unilateral tinnitus or bilateral tinnitus, fluctuating or non-fluctuating tinnitus. Next slide, please. Some of the tinnitus facts that at least 1 in 22 people suffer from tinnitus in worldwide in the population studies, based on the population studies, and it is seen in people mostly over 40 years of age. As already mentioned, we found more in males than in females. that causes a lot of sleep disturbances. 73% of tinnitus sufferers reported that the tinnitus causes reduction in the quality of life of their reduction in the quality of life. Next slide, please. Some of the causes of tinnitus based on the site of lesion are causes of outer ear, causes of middle ear, causes of inner ear, and causes of retrocochlear pathology. If the tinnitus is caused due to impacted mean or impacted foreign bodies in the external auditory canal, then these are the causes of outer ear. Tinnitus due to chronic ear effusion, due to otosclerosis, due to tympanic membrane rupture are some of the causes of the middle ear. Tinnitus due to noise exposure, due to ototoxic drugs, due to Meniere's disease are causes in the inner ear. Tumors and auditory neuropathy are some of the causes of the retrocochlear pathology. Next slide, please. Many studies have shown that tinnitus has a very negative impact on the lives of people, sleeplessness, to anxiety, mood swings, depression, exhaustion, and stress in life. Next slide, please. Tinnitus not only causes emotional distress and functional impairment, but it also causes social and occupational hazards. Some of the functional impairments that can be commonly seen are problems in thought processing, problems in emotions, problems in listening, sleep disturbances, concentration problems. These all affect negatively the quality of life for tinnitus sufferers. Next slide, please. Association study impact of tinnitus amongst the tinnitus sufferers, and they found that only 4% barely noticed it, while 34% reported that the tinnitus did not significantly impact their lives. However, 62% reported that tinnitus had a negative impact in their lives that ranged from trouble concentrating, sleep problems, anxiety, social isolation, inability to work, and depression. Next slide, please. Hence, there is a need to quantify the handicapping effects of tinnitus on the lives of people. And Newman et al. In 1996 developed the Tinnitus Handicap Inventory, which is a self-reported inventory, and it measures the severity of tinnitus. It is well validated and it is extensively used for evaluating the handicapping effect of tinnitus as well as evaluating the treatment outcomes. Next slide, please. Could you click once? The Tinnitus Handicap Inventory has 25 questions that can be answered as yes, no, and sometimes. The scoring is 4 for yes, 2 for sometimes, and 0 for no. There is a total score of 100 that ranges from 0 to 100. Anything above 0 indicates that the tinnitus has a negative impact on the quality of life of the person. And the higher the scores, the higher is the negative impact on the lives of the people. The Tinnitus Handicap Inventory has 3 subscales. The functional subscale having 11 items, the emotional subscale has 9 items, and the catastrophic response subscale that has 5 items. Next slide, please. The emotional subscale scale represents the mental functioning of the person, the occupational health, the social health, and the physical functioning of the person. Items such as 1, item 9, and item 7 include the functional subscale. The emotional subscale evaluates the feelings and attitudes of tinnitus, such as anger, frustration, and depression. And items such as 3, 10, and 21 represent the emotional subscale. The catastrophic response subscale includes beliefs about tinnitus and includes items such as subject's desperation towards tinnitus, inability to escape from tinnitus, perception of having a terrible disease, lack of control, and inability to cope with tinnitus. Next slide, please. So this is a tinnitus handicap inventory in English. There are 25 questions which are rated as yes, no, or sometimes, with a scoring of 4 for yes, 2 for sometimes, and 0 for no. So any score above 0 represents that the person will have a negative impact in the lives of the tinnitus will have a negative impact on the lives of the people. And the minimum score is 0 and the maximum score is 100. Coming to the scoring of THI, the Tinnitus Handicap Inventory, if the score falls between 0 to 16, then it falls into the slight category of tinnitus handicapping effect, in which the tinnitus is only heard in quiet environment and the grading is grade 1. If the score is from 18 to 36, then it falls under the mild category of difficulty in tinnitus perception, in which the tinnitus is easily masked by the environmental sounds and easily forgotten with activities, which falls under the grade 2. If the tinnitus scoring falls between 38 to 56, then it falls under the category of moderate level of tinnitus perception, in which it is noticed, the tinnitus is noticed in the perception of background noise, and daily activities can still be performed, and it falls under the grade 3. It falls under the severe category if the score is between 56 to 76, in which the tinnitus is always almost heard, and it leads to disturbed sleep patterns and interferes with daily activities in everyday life, and it falls under the category of grade 4. The severity is catastrophic if the scoring falls between 78 to 100, in which the perception of tinnitus is always heard, there is always disturbed sleep patterns, and the person has difficulty in performing all the daily activities, and the grade is grade 5. Next slide, please. Then why do we need to do tinnitus handicap inventory? Some of the advantages are that it not only evaluates the mental functioning of the person, but also the social, occupational, and the physical health of the person. And it is a very reliable test with a Cronbach's alpha of 0.93. It attempts to quantify the impact of tinnitus on daily living, and quantifies the handicapping effect of tinnitus on the lives of the tinnitus sufferers. It can be easily administered, and it is a quick test which can be administered within 10 minutes. And it has high correlations with other symptom rating scales. Thank you so much. This is the end of my presentation, and if there are any questions, I would like to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Aziza Karim, for a very lucid presentation. And now the session is open for discussion. Also, at the same breath, Dr. Aziza Karim and Ms. Pranti Digira, they wanted to take this opportunity to talk about their membership drive. So, Dr. Aziza Karim and Ms. Pranti Digira, over to you.
Thank you, Manushree. We have started, we are going to start very shortly the membership drive, in which I request all the members present today to be a life member.